Capitals tonight inaugurate this beautiful new facility. They get a chance to try and duplicate what the Wizards did. Wizards with a strong opening night performance. They knocked off the Seattle Supersonics' first home win, if you include all the stuff at US Air's arena for the Wizards. The Capitals, of course, have won at home already, but they'd love to inaugurate this new building in exactly the same manner that their basketball brethren have done. So much to talk about. Let's get right to it. A guy who is always very comfortable on opening night, and Craig Laughlin as well. Let's get it up to Joe Beninati and Mr. Craig Laughlin for their thoughts on tonight's game.
Al, thank you very much. You know, Craig, I've always thought of you as the jet-setting type. Well, obviously, Washington Sports and Entertainment have found a place for you to land.
Yeah, I love it here. The Capitol Club here at MCI Center. A very nice ambiance for a glass of wino before the game. It's very enjoyable, yes.
I have a feeling that you'll be enjoying the fruits and beverages throughout the night, throughout the season. But for the Washington Capitals, they've obviously enjoyed the fruits of Joe Juneau's labor a couple nights ago. Back off the injured list, he was struggling after that groin injury, but good to see him score the other night.
Yeah, it was really a monkey off his back. He was struggling big time. He was hitting the end of the goalie stick. He was struggling. But here, a big goal off the draw. Riki with the shot. Miscommunication between Richter and Samuelson. Connor Walchuk to a diving Joe Juneau. I mean, that's the type of goal that can really set you going in the other direction. That's what the Capitals' Ronnie Wilson hopes, that goal is going to get this guy going. Without Peter Bonder in the lineup, Joe Juneau must be a factor, not only on the power play, but you see his great speed just in warm-up here tonight. He's got to use that against a Panther team that is not that quick on the blue line.
I agree with you 100%. Joe has to elevate his offensive game. He's going to give you the good penalty killing, the good skating game, but he's got to produce offensively. It's time for us to kick it back to Al Koken, but I know you wanted to say something special for Al from up here in the Capitol Club.
It's very simple. Cheers, Aldo.
Lock, I can always count on you to have the fine vintage wine ready to roll at any time. Try and cut Joe in on the action as well, and maybe save a little for me when you are done. The Wizards gave this place rave reviews. All the players thought it was spectacular, bright, clean. The amenities were terrific. So what do the Washington Capitals think about their new home? Well, we had our HDS cameras working as we talked to some of the Washington Capitals about their new digs, the MCI Center.
New building, Joe. Is the glass high enough for your style of play?
They added 2 inches to this glass, so you're going to see a lot more offense out of me coming into that offensive zone.
What do you think of this arena now? Come on, honestly now, no more joking around.
Well, I think it's probably the nicest building in the league. I think you got everything here, and it's fun to come to this building. Our room's great, the atmosphere's great. It's a bright atmosphere, and I think it's the best building you can ever come play in.
It's outstanding. I mean, just for us, you know, being in a dressing room that's, you know, so much nicer than the one we had before is kind of spoiled. But, you know, hopefully we can play some good hockey here and get the people in, get it to, you know, be a good atmosphere to come watch a game. You know, loud and a lot of excitement in here. And, you know, it starts with us. If we put a good product on the ice, play exciting, and win some games, you know, we can make this a great building.
It's nice. It's going to be fun tonight. A little exciting, you know. It's hope we can put on a good show for the people down here and hopefully win the game.
First of all, it's going to be exciting being able to, you know, play in one of the premier sports arenas in the world. You know, the game's going to be hopefully an up-tempo game for us. We have to come out and play hard and just do the things we've been doing, and I think we'll be successful. But getting back to the arena, it's just a great complex. It's tough to find your way around here in the locker room compared to the US Arena, but it certainly is. It makes you feel very comfortable.
You know, we're excited because we have a new building. Anytime you come into a new facility, it's nice. You know, the old Boston Garden, you know, was a great building, but the Fleet Center was welcomed, and it was a lot of fun. But this place is absolutely spectacular. It's beautiful. It really is.
Finesse.
You're going
you know,
finesse?
New building and stuff, nicer, better boards, better ice, be able to use my skills a little more out there.
How's it going to affect the game? Is the game going to open up because you guys are going to use the fast boards and stuff like that and forechecking?
Yeah, I think it'll be a better game. The US Arena, the boards were dead and the ice wasn't that great. I think both teams, passing's going to be better, and you'll see a little better hockey, I think, coming in a new building. Plus, it's a better atmosphere and with a new building and stuff, and people will be more excited.
Well, it's exciting. You know, Cap Center was a good building for its time, and now we're going to move on to a nicest arena in the league, I think, and you know, it's going to mean a whole new era for us, I think, and we're going to take it that way. Go on. We had a good years, but now we're going to take it a step further.
That's right. Now for Dale Hunter and the rest of the Capitals, all they need is a victory to really kick off this building in fine fashion. We've got much more ahead here on the Capitals Report. When we come back, the Washington Post Sports Extra with sports editor George Solomon will get his feelings on the new building and much more as we continue on HTS. It's opening night for the Washington Capitals in their beautiful new home, the MCI Center in downtown Washington, D.C., as we continue here with the Capitals Report. And it's time now for the Washington Post Sports Extra. Joining us tonight on the Sports Extra is the sports editor of the Washington Post, Mr. George Solomon. And George, first of all, we are coming to you. I'm here at the beautiful new Capitol Club at MCI Center, and I thought it was very gracious of you to allow Joe Beninati, Craig Laughlin, and myself to have dinner on your tab. Craig said you wouldn't mind that second bottle of wine, so we wanted to thank you right off the bat.
Let me tell you something, Al. I'll do anything for Craig Laughlin, who I think is becoming one of the great hockey voices and personalities in the National Hockey League.
It's
what do you
interesting.
think of that?
He says the same thing about himself. Very interesting that you would have the same opinion about Craig.
What do you think of that, though? How's that for a compliment?
Well,
however, one bottle of wine.
Just one bottle of wine?
One bottle of wine.
Locker,
Canadian,
he says just one bottle of wine. So.
Canadian vintage.
Okay, but he says a bottle of Canadian wine for Craig Laughlin. That'll be it. What are your impressions? You were here for opening night,
by the way.
You were here for opening night. What do you think about the new barn?
I think it's a very impressive arena. I think it's well done. The Washington Sports should be very proud. I know Abe Poland is very proud. Al, you and I were chatting about some of the things they do have to do. I think they have to perhaps pay a lot of attention to the people in the third deck, because that's your base. That you've got to satisfy, the general sports fan. You've got to make sure that what's to eat they like. You've got to make sure that enough people who aren't the big hitters get an opportunity to buy tickets in this arena and get to go to the games, whether it's discount purchases, whether it's special nights. I think that's very, very important.
I know that's one of the things Adam Oates, Home Team Sports, Giant, General Mills, trying to get some discount tickets for, hockey games for this building. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Caps react tonight if they try and put on too much of a show. If they just follow the lead of the Wizards, they should do okay. 2-0 in this new building, not a bad start for them.
Not a bad start. The Wizards are playing much better than they did when they were at USA Arena. And believe me, Al, I don't know the reason for that. I think the Sacramento Kings helped a little bit last night. But nevertheless, that looks like a much sharper Wizards basketball team.
George, also coming up this weekend, a great college basketball tournament, the Franklin Bank Children's Charities Tournament. I know a lot of people who want to get down to see this building. $30 gets you 2 games, and it's not a bad deal. And there's some great teams participating in this event.
Well, it's Sunday afternoon and Monday night, and the Sunday afternoon matchup is terrific. Maryland against number 2 Kansas in the opener. And then you've got George Washington against Pennsylvania in the nightcap. That's a great attraction. $30, 2 games, that's not bad. That's not bad at all, and that'll be very interesting, and we'll see how Maryland does against Kansas.
George, we also have the traditional Army-Navy football game this weekend up at the Meadowlands. I know that there is going to be, I think it's the Navy-Notre Dame game that'll come in a couple of years to Jack Kent Cooke Stadium. But what do you think now that there are a lot of new facilities in this Washington area with the new football stadium? Wouldn't it make a lot of sense with the Pentagon located nearby to eventually move the Army-Navy game to the Washington area?
Well, I know the Cook officials want to do that. And I know Jack Kent Cooke, when he was alive, worked very hard at trying to get Navy. And I believe they've got Navy Notre Dame lined up for the Cook Stadium now. And I do know that Army and Navy is certainly now me being wrong. Navy Notre Dame will either be at the Cook Stadium or at the stadium in Baltimore. I'm not sure of that. I know you'll be checking on it later and, report to your viewers.
We'll, of course, do that just for you, George. Always a pleasure. We will look forward to seeing you out here soon, and we'll try and make sure Craig doesn't have that third bottle of wine before you get here, George.
2 bottles, $5.95 a bottle, Craig.
All right, and the paper bag has to stay around it. George Solomon has ruled. That's our good friend George Solomon, sports editor of the Washington Post, with our Washington Post Sports Extra. And we will continue with much more of the Capitals Report when we continue on opening night from MCI Center. We're still a few minutes away from the opening face-off, and more importantly, the opening festivities, as this building will be inaugurated in style. National Hockey League Commissioner Gary Bettman on hand, along with owner Abe Pollin. You see Abe Pollin on the left talking with Gary Bettman and Washington sports president Susan O'Malley. They're waiting in the wings, waiting until the players for both the Capitals and Florida Panthers finish their pregame warm-ups. Cap fans ready to go, young and old, taking a look at this brand new facility. Everywhere you walk around, when you talk to people, I have yet to hear a negative comment about the building. Everybody has been raving about the amenities, the facilities. Talked to a lot of people, and will put myself in this category, who came down via Metro, how convenient it is to get to compared to the trek it used to be, particularly on a Friday night around the Beltway at rush hour. And there's also a look at the beautiful new television monitor, high above ice level, very sharp clarity. It is a truly one-of-a-kind facility. We have got much more. We'll continue as folks continue to dine at the Capitol Club. We'll have our pregame festivities in just a moment here on HTS.
Last year.
Most exciting weeks of Abe Pollin's life continues tonight here at MCI Center. On Tuesday, he inaugurated the building with his Wizards basketball team. Now you see Abe Pollin on the left talking to National Hockey League Commissioner Gary Bettman. Gary Bettman on hand, as was NBA Commissioner David Stern on Tuesday, as they both come and honor a man who has been truly one of the best owners in the National Hockey League and NBA. One of the few single owners, if you talk about men who basically own the building and facilities and teams themselves. As we see more and more corporate ownership in professional sports, Abe Pollin admits he's always been a nutty optimist and kind of a bit of a dinosaur in some regards. But when you see what he did with this new facility, over $200 million of his own money, help of course from the District of Columbia in terms of land acquisition and some logistics. But Mr. Pollin put his wallet out, opened it up, and everybody has raved about the experience. You heard Capital players earlier in the Capitals report talk about this building. Just some of the observations in watching pregame warm-up. We are definitely going to see more lively boards. The bottom of the boards, those yellow dasher board areas, are certainly going to provide a lot more pucks ricocheting back into action. If you've watched some of our telecasts from the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh or up in Montreal, you know how some of those teams fire it into the corner and then go to the high slot areas because that's where the puck caroms back. That is going to be quite the opposite of what it used to be at US Airways Arena, where when you would dump it in the corner, it would sit there. So with Ron Wilson trying to play a more up-tempo style, we'll see how the Capitals can take advantage of that in their brand new facility. The Zambonis are on the ice. The MCI Center ice being resurfaced. We are a few minutes away from opening festivities that we'll have for you here on HTS. We're going to wrap up this edition of the Capitals Report here on HTS in just a moment as the Zambonis resurface the ice at the new MCI Center. We are just slightly behind schedule in terms of getting our opening activities off. The players lingered, and I guess you don't have to blame the players because when you come out to a new building, both the Florida Panthers and Washington Capital players, a lot of them stayed out on the ice longer than they were supposed to, just soaking up the atmosphere of opening night. That's thrown us slightly off schedule, but we will have all of the opening night festivities as Cap fans pour into this brand new building. We'll be back with Joe Beninati and Craig Laughlin and our game open in just a moment.
The season December on HTS. Ready to give some surprise gifts in 4 games. The Great Gretzky and the Broadway Blues. A home-and-home stuff fest against the stingy Florida Panthers. And a final holiday bash against the rough and ready Devils. Get ready to spend the holidays with the Caps, because it's always better to give than to receive. The Capitals ready for holiday cheer all December long, only on HTS.
The Washington Capitals and Wizards owner Abe Pollin unveiled the latest monument in our nation's capital, the brand new state-of-the-art MCI Center. And while there was plenty of celebrating going on in D.C., on the very same night the Caps were celebrating an overtime victory in New York, thanks to Joe Juneau, the Caps headed home 3-2 winners over the Broadway Blue Shirts. And tonight they play at their new home for the first time this season. And for the third time, they lock horns with the Florida Panthers. Just 2 weeks ago, the Caps turned a close game into a 5-2 victory by scoring 2 goals in the second and 2 more in the third. The NHL comes to downtown Washington for the first time. It's the Caps and Panthers coming up next on HTS. HTS presents the National Hockey League tonight live from MCI Center. It's the Capitals and the Florida Panthers. You can file it under very special occasion, the dawning of a new hockey era for the Washington Capitals at long last. Downtown's the place where the Eagles will fly. A very pleasant good evening to you, Joe Beninati, alongside Craig Laughlin. And Craig, there is so much excitement about the dawn of MCI Center.
Yeah, it's just like a playoff atmosphere here. People filing in, sold out crowd expected. It's so exciting for the Capitals to have a new home in downtown DC, and they're hoping, coming off that Ranger victory, they can carry it over for their first ever game here.
You can be certain they would like to put up an offensive explosion, and if they are to do that, more than likely Joe Juneau will be part of the party.
He has to be part of the puzzle. He's got to be a guy that steps forward. You take a look at his stats there, 20 games, 3 goals, 9 assists, 12 points. Not Juneau-like statistics. He was riding a long drought in the goal-scoring department. He said it was one of the longest of his career, and finally he broke through. He's been going to the net hard, he's been driving, he's been getting opportunities, but finally, justice prevails for Joe Juneau. Overtime game winner. Riki bounces it towards the net. Cotto to Joe Juneau right in front of the net. The overtime game-clinching goal against the New York Rangers. I think this is a sign of good things ahead for Joe Juneau.
Long time no see for the Washington Capitals and the Florida Panthers, but obviously we're just kidding. Felt like the preparation came easy tonight, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be 5 games done with the Florida Panthers before Christmas. Here we take a look at the statistics so far. Caps lost November 9th, 3-2. The Capitals beat them in the last matchup, 5-2. They're at MCI Center tonight. We're back Sunday at Florida and Miami Arena, and I mean, it just gets 5 games before Christmas. It's a good time for the Capitals to continue to pile up the wins.
Very special night. Let's go downstairs, join the public address system. The opening of MCI Center hockey style.
I'd like to take just a brief moment to welcome all of you here to this absolutely fantastic building. Do you agree with me? Just a wish for the future. May we all come here many, many times and enjoy this wonderful place. Thanks for coming.
Kind of hard to follow my wife, but I would just like to say again, welcome to all of you. This is a building that's a culmination of 5 years of hard work, planning, hoping, praying that we would build the best building in the world for the most important city and the most beautiful city in the world, the nation's capital.